everyone, I'm Melissa and I'm back to making dessert for you. I have a really easy recipe again, and it's super simple for 2 people. I'm making chocolate lava cakes. I got the recipe from smittenkitchen.com. It's a really great blog if you want to go on it. So this recipe is just 6 ingredients. It's really easy. Right now I have the oven preheating to 450. It's kind of high, but it's fine, I guess. So I melted chocolate. It's a half a cup of chocolate. You can use milk chocolate or dark chocolate. If you use milk chocolate, you might want to do no sugar at all in these cakes if you choose to do that. With the dark chocolate, I'm just putting in a tablespoon of sugar, but I'm going to get up to that in a second. So I melted a half a cup of chocolate chips with 4 tablespoons of butter. So I have that in this bowl here, and I'm going to add the sugar and the salt. So I just have 1 tablespoon of sugar to add into my dark chocolate, and then it's like 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So just a pinch. And now I'm gonna whisk the sugar and the salt in. And also beforehand, I buttered, and instead of flour, I put cocoa powder into 2 6-ounce ramekins for the cakes, for the lava cakes. And then after the sugar and the salt, we're gonna whisk in the egg. So it's 1 egg and 1 egg yolk. So you could leave the whites for, I don't know, breakfast the next day. And when we whisk in the egg whites, you have to whisk them in like extra hard. Because first, when you start whisking it, it looks like, I don't know, like kind of lumpy, I guess. But if you whisk it extra hard for like a minute, it ends up getting really glossy. And that's how you want it to look. Okay. So mine's nice and glossy now. And all that we have left to add is the cocoa powder. So this recipe is also flourless, so it's gluten-free. You need 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder. I just used a tablespoon, so I used like 2/3 of the tablespoon. And then you whisk in your cocoa powder. And then that's pretty much it. You can add extra fillings into the lava cake. So when you cut it in half and it's got the chocolate coming out, it could also have peanut butter in it, or jam, or I don't know, fluff, or Nutella, or really anything. So I've got the filling. So I'm just trying to do like equal size scoops to make sure these 2 cakes are as even as possible. So I'm putting a couple scoops into each, because I'm gonna fill it halfway, and then I'm gonna add a scoop of the filling that I want to put into each one. Okay. So now we're gonna do raspberry jam in one, because my husband likes this raspberry jam. You don't need a lot. You could just do like a spoonful. But My husband likes kind of a lot, so I'm doing 2 spoonfuls. Should I do more? No. Okay, 2 spoonfuls. I'm not talking to myself, I'm talking to my husband who's standing next to the camera. And I'm putting peanut butter in mine. I don't want that much. Okay. So now we just have to fill the rest. So I don't know if they can see this. I put in a little spoonful into the middle of each one, and now we're just gonna fill them the rest of the way. So make sure you get it like right over the filling. And you don't have to do filling, you could just do chocolate all the way if you want. Just skip this part and just fill them both evenly. Almost there. Okay, so then these are going to go in the oven. It really depends on your oven, but it's going to probably cook anywhere from like 7 to 10 minutes. I've been cooking mine at like 8, and they've been perfect when you cut into them. I've done it a few times now, and I've gotten it really raw the first time, and then the second time they were overcooked, so you might have to play around with it. But I would try maybe like 8 minutes. If you have raspberry jam in it, or like a cold filling that's been in the fridge, it probably will need a little bit more time because the filling is cold, so it's slowing down the cooking process. But so, yeah, you're just gonna have to play around. When you open the oven up to check on it after the like 8 minutes or so, it doesn't want to look like puddly or anything. Like if it still looks wet, like really wet on the top, then it's definitely underdone. And you can't really check to see if it's overcooked until you cut it open. So it's partially a guessing game, but hopefully these will turn out perfect. So I'm gonna put these in the oven, and then you'll get to see them when they're all done. Okay, so these cooked for 8 minutes. Here's one of them. I'm just flipping it after letting it rest for a couple of minutes in the ramekin. I put the plate on top, and it's still hot, so you're gonna need gloves, and you're just gonna flip it over. So a little bit of the top came off from the raspberry, but that's okay. And I'm just gonna cut it so you can see that. A lot of raspberry. But there you are. Have a good night, everyone. Chocolate lava cake. And I would suggest putting whipped cream on top. Is that okay?